Welcome to my tutorial for Express Raider on the Commodore 64. And this is going to be on the 1 difficulty level, which I think is the default. There's also game modes normal. I'm not sure what the difference is between normal. I mean, there's a difficulty level, and then there's game modes normal. Normal would usually be a difficulty setting, so I'm not sure what the differences are, but I just basically played it on default. So in this game, you have unlimited continues, and it's pretty forgiving. You have about 4 lives before you waste a continue, and if you waste a life, you will basically start right where you left off pretty much. So on the shooting gallery stages, if you have killed any enemies, they stay dead. But if you lose all your lives, which are shown in the upper right by those pink squares, you will have to start the stage over. And there's 8 stages you have to beat. Now there's only 2 different stage types. So there's this side-scrolling stage, and then there's a shooting stage. And that's it. It just keeps repeating those 2 stages. But with each stage you beat, it gets a little bit harder. And it never really gets too difficult. It's a pretty easy game overall. I think it took me about 40 minutes to beat total. So it wasn't too difficult. So you can, if you want to crouch all the way down, you have to hit one of the diagonal directions, like, left, right, or I'm sorry, down left or down right. And that'll give you like a crawling position. And you need that to duck low enough to dodge some things like the shotgun blasts. Aside from that, you just press a button to do a kick. And if you press up on the controller to jump, and if you combine that with the strike, you'll do a jump kick. So you can. The jump kick is actually very effective to take out some of these guys, which you'll see me using it a lot more in the harder stages later. Of course, for the coyotes in the beginning of the stage, you just duck and punch. It's very, very easy. Now, if you die on any of these train carts, you will start on the last train cart you got to. So unless you lose all your lives, then you have to start the stage back. But this is edited, so this is just showing the successful continues on each section. You know, it does show lives that were lost, but it only shows the successful continues. So in each stage, you want to make it to the end where the final train car is, and that defeats the stage. Same principle here, but now this is a shooting gallery type of stage. There is a strategy I found that works pretty well. I used a rapid fire controller, which, you could probably accomplish the same thing by mashing the fire button constantly. But what I did was I held down fire the whole time pretty much. And the main thing I found that you had to do on these stages is you have to adjust your reticle by pressing up and down, to move the horse either up or down. And you want to find that sweet spot for each train car. There's going to be a sweet spot where all the enemies appear. Basically, there's going to be a plane in the horizontal direction, from left to right, where the enemies appear. So once you get that height proper for the reticle, then all you got to really worry about is moving left and right and gunning the guys down. Now, in these levels where the window's open, all you have to do is when you see a window's about to open, get ready to shoot on that window, because it's most likely going to be an enemy. Now, sometimes you will shoot guys that are holding treasure bags. You may shoot them accidentally, and you're not supposed to shoot them. I'm not sure what the penalty is when you hit them, but I don't really worry about it. You may lose credit for one of your kills or something, but it's a minor penalty if there is a penalty for it. And remember, the treasure bags that those guys throw out are not items you want to collect. They will kill you, so just avoid them. So yeah, pretty much the idea is, like for this train car, I adjust my reticle so it's right on that plane right up above at the very top edge of the train car, you see, and I'm moving just left to right. And then all I have to focus on is left to right movement. Now, I'll occasionally move up and down to dodge something, which is helpful, but I'll immediately readjust back to that plane where I had my reticle at so I can start firing on the enemies again. So that's pretty much my main strategy, and that works throughout the entire, all the shooting stages. So for these beer bottle guys, you just got to duck and get up to them close and then hit them when you get a chance. You can only hit them when they're actually throwing the bottle. So you want to hit them a few times and then just make sure you duck before the bottle is released from the enemy's hands, because that's when it damages you. You can duck to avoid those little arcs and stuff, but you don't have to worry about that. When you get to the end of a train car, you have to jump to proceed, I believe. I don't think you can walk. You are timed as well, so if you take too long on any sections in the game, even in the shooting stages, you will automatically lose a life. So you do want to move fast. Now these guys, All you have to do for this part is keep jumping, and if the guy grabs you, just mash the button to get him off of you. That's it. If you have rapid fire, it'll probably get him off of you faster by holding down the button. So same thing here. These guys can only shoot high, I believe. So just duck until you get close. And of course, like with the bottle, you can only hurt these guys when they're actually firing at you. Sometimes you can just absorb shots on the easier ones and just kick the shit out of them, just take some damage. The way the health system works is pretty strange. It's like a tug-of-war type of health bar. So the way it works is, if your pink little bar on the on the top there goes all the way down, you die. But you get life back when you land a hit, and you lose life when they land a hit on you. So because of that mechanic, you can actually exchange damage with the enemies, and a lot of times you can out-damage them before they damage you. So keep that in mind, that the health, you're pretty much getting health back when you land hits. Now that only applies, of course, to the side-scrolling beat-em-up stages. For these type of stages, you just have to kill a certain amount of enemies to get to the next train car, and there's no regenerating health. It's just if you get hit, you're dead. But if you do lose a life, you will start with the exact amount of guys you killed. You have to kill a certain amount of guys on each train car to proceed to the next one. You'll see up at the very top, that top row with the little pink boxes, where it just said time up. That row will tell you how many enemies are left on a given train car. So right now you can see there's about 7, or 1 guy left, but there was 7 when I first got there. So now you see again, there's 7 enemies I have to kill. And when that counts down, you'll go to the next train car. So what I found is to keep rapidly firing. The game does have strange hit detection where a lot of times your shots don't go through when they should. You'll see the shots exploding right on the guy's fucking head, their chest and shit, right? I mean, I'm blowing my load all over the fucking place, but sometimes you just don't see guys going down. So keep that in mind. The hit detection is not consistent. If it is, it's some kind of weird positioning, but it's not what you would expect. So don't expect the game to be super tight with the shots. A lot of them are going to miss when they should hit, and it's really not your fault. But for a Commodore game, this is pretty fucking solid and pretty well made. This is one of the best ones that I've played so far on the Commodore. It's a pretty good game. So yeah, I died, but see, I continue where I left off. There was only 1 guy left to kill, so I move on to the next train car. Now, I'm sure I didn't need to make an 18-minute tutorial on the game, since I probably could have explained most of the mechanics in the first, 5-10 minutes. But I like to show the full games. It's a short enough game. So yeah, same thing with this train car. It's always that top plane right at the edge is where you can hit the guy. So once you get your reticle in that area, all you got to worry about is moving left to right. You want to try to get to the guys before they release their shots, and of course move away if you need to. And only move in when it's safe. If you get it just right, you can chain kill a number of guys in a row before they can even get their shots off. So you want to do that whenever possible, and that's just going to be good positioning. And you should learn that just from playing the game. You'll get a feel for when you can pull that off. I don't do it all the time, but when I get it, it does make things a lot easier. So yeah, as you can see, after the shooting stage, it alternates back to the side-scrolling stage. After the side-scrolling stage, it alternates to the, to the other type of stage. So that's all the game is. But it does have a definitive ending. When you beat the 8th stage, you get a little ending screen, or an ending message, and then it just loops back, I believe, to stage 1 again. So there is a definitive ending for the game. It wasn't one where I had to guess where the loop was or try to look it up online. It does have a definitive ending, but it does loop, like a lot of old arcade-style games. This is also an arcade game. I have yet to try the arcade version. I'd like to try that as well. I'm assuming that's a pay-to-win game, but I don't know. It may be maybe it's just one continue or something. A lot of arcade games, they didn't let you continue at all. You just, if you die, that's it. So no continues. It might be a no continue, a 1cc kind of game where you have to beat it on one coin, basically. I'm guessing that's what it would be. I haven't tried it yet, though, but I would like to try because this was a pretty good game. So yeah, jump kicks work very well. If you do jump kicks, if you jump into the guy and jump kick them and just keep repeating the jump kick, you can take down some of these guys very quickly. It's not always the best method for every enemy, but you're going to learn. If you do die, you'll learn what worked on that particular enemy. It's not going to change. You'll just restart the stage, and next time you'll know, all right, well, this attack's not working too well on this guy. And of course, if all else fails, just refer back to my video and see what I did, and it'll probably be pretty good enough to get through. There's nothing in this game that's too difficult at all. So if you know what to do, it shouldn't be too bad. There's a good chance you'll beat this game a lot faster than I did after watching the tutorial. I watched a gameplay video from the Mexican Runner. I've been finding some of these Commodore games. I've been hunting for easy victims as usual. I try to get those low-hanging fruit and beat easy games whenever I can find them. And of course, I beat extremely difficult and medium games and everything in between. But whenever I find easier ones, I try to inflate my kill list and try to take them out. So this one looked like an easy kill, and it definitely was. But it was fun, It's not super easy though. I mean, it's a little challenging. You do have to do well. The shooting stages are the main challenge. Some of them can be a little tricky, but nothing is really that hard. So you can see I have my reticle lined up with the mid-range now for this part. Each train card is a little bit different reticle height that you want to keep it at. Now I was moving up and down more there because I think there was more bullets kind of getting in my way and I was trying to dodge a little bit. But I try to keep the reticle in one place for each card, and I try to mainly move left to right and focus on just doing that. And I'm able to wipe guys out the fastest doing that. I find, in a lot of games, when you can find a simple method and stick to it, you can really, max out the effectiveness of that one method because you don't have to worry about trying to move up or down, try to manage a bunch of other shit. You focus, basically move left to right, take the guys out. It makes it a lot more straightforward. So again, for these carts, you're going to line up with the windows, and once you get it, you'll know because the guys will get, hit, obviously, and that's the height that you want to keep it at when you land a shot. That tells you, what height you need to have your reticle at. Because all the enemies are at the same height on every train cart. So once you find the height, they're all going to be locked into that height. But it does change per train cart, so you have to readjust on each one. Again, avoid the treasure bags as they are not going to help you. And yeah, with the windows, it's a little tricky, but the windows is one of the easier carts because you know where the guys are going to come out of. It takes a while for the window to open, and then it takes a while for the guy to spawn in the window. So it gives you a lot of, it's telegraphed way ahead of time where the enemies are going to appear from. So that's one of the easier ones to deal with. So now at this point in the game, we see we have 8 guys we have to kill in each train cart, and I believe that continues to go up. I don't know how high up it goes by the end of the game. But I do know that it gets harder and harder to clear these stages, but it never gets too difficult, like I said. And I believe if you do lose all your lives, you just press the fire button to continue exactly where you left off. I didn't know how to use save states or anything on the emulator for Commodore. I haven't figured that out yet. I think it does allow that, so we can save and then shut the game off and resume later, but I didn't want to chance it because I didn't know how to use that feature. So I just beat it in one sitting. Yeah, I'm going to do a review on this game, too. Right after I finish this commentary, I'll do a review on it. And I enjoyed this game. Like I said, I thought it was one of the best games that I played so far on the Commodore, which is not saying much. I haven't played any good games on Commodore yet. Nothing too good. But I'm still finding games, so, I'm sure I'll find some good ones. It seems like there are some great arcade-style games on the system. So I'm sure I will come across some, I'm just starting to experiment with Commodore. Now, this method wasn't working too great with trying to out fucking brute damage this guy, exchanging shots. So it's probably better to play a little carefully than I did. You'll see what I do when I'm successful, and you may not want to do the reckless method. So now I guess just straight up kicks was working well. So maybe just kick the shit out of that guy. That seemed to work. I don't always remember. It was so brief, my time with this game, that I don't remember exactly what I did for each enemy, but I can see here what's working, and you'll be able to see. For these Panthers, you can just jump them very easily, or you can just duck and punch them if you want. I find it easier to just jump over them. Very easy. For a lot of the enemies, coming in with those jump kicks and just spamming your jump kicks as you jump forward really, really tears those guys apart. So it's something to try, at least. You may want to mix it up with some kicks if the guys are getting too much damage in. Remember, your health bar is like a tug-of-war type of thing, so if you see your health, if you see the enemies out-damaging you, you may want to. That's when you want to switch up your attack patterns and try something different, and you might still be able to save the life. The biggest challenge on these stages is going to be just running out of time, because occasionally you'll run out of time. It's not always easy to beat the guys in the time that you have left. But there's really not much of any other challenge aside from that on these side-scrolling stages. Eventually you're just going to know what attacks work and what doesn't, and you'll beat it. It's easy enough. You got like 4 or 5 lives to fuck around with to do it. So there's a lot of room for mistakes. And you also have a lot of time to correct your mistakes during the fights, except if you get annihilated like that. But usually you have a decent amount of time to figure out what's not working and readjust your attacks. So yeah, the shooting stages are really the most difficult I found. And you can try to just go up and kick the shit out of the shotgunner, and a lot of times you will overpower them and win anyway. So you don't have to always worry about trying to duck all their shots. You want to duck initially while you're approaching them. But once you get right up to them, just kick the shit out of some of them. I mean, but other ones, I think I had to play it a little bit. I had to change it up a little bit, which we may see here. This is the final stage. So you can see on this final stage, there's 9 enemies that we have to defeat on each cart. And it moves faster now. The enemies, I think they shoot a little bit faster. They pop up more frequently, I believe. And of course, there's a little bit more of them that you have to kill by this point. There's like 9 for each cart. So that's the main. But honestly, your strategies that I've explained already will carry you through the game at this point. That's all you need to know is the basics, and you just have to do a little bit better. That's all, and last a little bit longer. So. But you can see how it works. When I die, I save my progress, unless I lose all my lives. And sometimes it's good to adjust your up and down movement just a little bit to avoid some projectiles. If you want to get in close, sometimes you got to move up diagonally to get in there close, because you can kind of go around the projectile and get in close and get your shots off. But you always want to readjust to that neutral point, which in this case is the height that you want to have the reticle at. You want to always readjust to that reticle height that works for that specific cart. So once you find that height, you kind of just want to always go back to that height. Even if you move out of range a little bit, you want to go back as soon as you can and start popping off shots. And if you're holding rapid fire the whole time, it won't slow you down or anything. So as long as you have bullets coming out all the time, you don't have to even worry about timing your shots. That's why I like to kind of mash the button. In my case, I just set it to rapid fire and I just held it down. But you could mash it if you can also mash it. You don't need a rapid fire controller for this shit. You might be able to actually shoot the projectiles out of the air. I think I may have done that before, but I'm not certain. I don't remember exactly because I beat this, a little while ago. It was this month, but it might have been a few weeks ago. But I wouldn't bother trying to deflect their bullets or shoot their bullets out of the air. It's just a waste of time. Unless you're trying to go for a high score or something. Maybe that's good. I don't know. But for beating the game, you don't have to do anything too fancy. So yeah, that's it. At this point, you've completed the game. So if you have any questions, let me know. And thanks for watching. And stay tuned for my review, which will be up soon.